All right, test, test, test. I'm trying a little different way of recording this with a little different software, seeing how the sound is and how the audio is. So this will be the first time, and this is After Dark. KEWL. Cool. After Dark. So I've been getting a ton of requests about what kind of mic should I use. Now, if it's for something like this, I can say very easily, and don't get me wrong, I love these questions, but I figured I should come out and say something a little more, meat on it. Wow, that kind of hit hard. Turn that down just a little bit. Again, I'm trying a new software to record. But back to the main subject. I get a lot of requests on what any recommendations on a cheap mic. Okay, there's a lot of recommendations for cheap mics. But the question you should be asking is, the best mic for what you want to do. Yeah, I know I'm messing that up because I need more coffee. Now, the question should be, what's the best, most inexpensive mic for what I want to do? See, it's hard. It's like a camera. It's hard to give you a recommendation when I can't ask the right questions. So if it's a talking head like this, because I'm doing this kind of radio station talk show way, I use a PR40. This is not cheap, but this is a broadcast quality microphone. Roughly everything put together, $500. Now, not saying that you need this, just saying for the aesthetics of what's going on here, this really plays a good part. Now, this is a dynamic microphone, which means it takes no phantom power. It's this one is a forward address, a front address, end address. So you're supposed to talk into the very end of it, and it goes that way, so the capsules are facing this way. If it was a side address, it would sit sideways. Now, okay, this is a Shure 55. This is the Elvis mic. It's rough. This is a dynamic microphone, just like this one. But this one is a side address. Cardioid pattern, same as this one. The pattern is this way, not real wide, not omnidirectional, but not real narrow either. This is a cardioid pattern. An old 50s Shure 55. It doesn't, it rejects a lot from the back. So it's not real. When you go from, it still picks up from the back, but not a lot. These kind of microphones are good for talking heads, podcasts, stuff like that, because it's still a dynamic microphone. So it rejects a lot of the outside noise. So that's really good. They used this a lot for singing in the 50s because it rejects the audience noise, the other band members. It helps tone that down. So if you have a space that's, of course, I'm in a very dead area. I'm in my whisper room. But if I had this out on the kitchen table, I could still get some decent audio. So there's the other thing that really makes a difference, is that you need to know what environment you're going to be in. That's going to tell me if it's a dynamic microphone, like one of these two. Now this one here, it's cheaper, but it's not super cheap. This is about 200. You can buy today's version of this for about $255, $260, $249, I believe. I don't know. I'll have it down in the thing. And this is a real nice microphone. It's got an odd way of plosives. I did that. Yeah, I did that because I wanted you. Plosives. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. It helps, but it's not real good, see? But if you turn this off access and don't breathe right into the mic, it works real well. So if you don't have to have a windscreen like this here, you can get them and put on there. But if you don't want one, just go off access. Just don't breathe right into the mic. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. The P's are a little less thumping. Does that make sense? Both are really good mics. As you can tell, they both sound quite a bit different. This one here, I'm on the PR40, the Heil, whatever you want to call it, PR40. This is the Shure. Now, what's unique about the Shure is I can make my voice sound different ways, especially with a mixer. So I can take a little bit take about 100 hertz off the bottom, and I believe it really makes my voice pretty pleasant instead of being so deep, hello, hello, hello. My air conditioner just came on. So when I switch to the other one, you're going to hear the air conditioner, but you don't hear it so much in these. So I'm back on the PR40. Let's move some stuff around here. All right, now this is a condenser mic, but it's a condenser stereo mic. I've got other ones, but this one's here right now, so I can show it to you on this one. Now what that means is this takes phantom power. I would use this more for triggers stuff. Now this is a $400 mic, but we'll get to the less expensive ones in a minute. But this is a stereo. So this side is your left, this side is your right. And I can separate them. So let's do this. Test, test, test. This is going to be a little more brighter. Oh, yeah, this is going to be a little brighter. You can separate the channels. This still has plosive problems, but I usually get away with something like this. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a bag of pickled peppers. See, now we have some different channels left. I believe this is your left. This is your right. You should be hearing this in your left ear. You should be hearing this in your right ear. This is a condenser microphone. Right now, I'm shooting straight down the barrel. So you should be hearing it about the same on each ear. Now, because there is a separation, it adds a little bit of a waver, a twang to my voice. One side will be a little bit louder than the other. It depends on where I'm talking. So if I'm talking straight on and I get close to the mic, it sounds kind of normal. But if I just tilt my head a little bit, one ear will get a little bit more than the other one. Creates a little bit of dynamic, not meaning it's a dynamic microphone, but the sound's a little bit dynamic. I would use this, something like this, for gaming. What I do, I said do. What I do is sometimes I click this on when I'm doing meetings for work, and it's really funny because we're on Teams, which is like a Zoom thing, and I'll go, hey, you think they can hear me? And you'll see the people in the office, they'll act like I'm talking just to them, and it's really funny, and they get a little bit of, my boss gets a little bit irritated because I'm always going, can you believe he said that? And everybody will go, but it's really kind of humorous, and then pretty soon Mike will go, yeah, knock it off. But that's the kind of thing we live in. Now for triggers, a mic like this is great. Now a lot of times ASM artists will have two different mics. I used to have two different mics too, to Synco, hypercardioid, and two other Shores, and to give me left and right. But this just seems to be a little easier to have on the desk. I get a couple added benefits for what I use. It really changes stuff. I can still pull off the same things, but different. The same, but different. Let's move that back a little bit. So let's say we want to go like this. All right, so now you got me back on the dynamic microphone. So what this does, it gives it to you in both ears, but it would be considered like a mono signal. So it's taking my voice in and then separating it and giving it to each ear, to where this one here, this is actually left and right channels. So I could do something like this. And as long as my voice stays center, it acts a little bit almost like three-dimensional sound in a way. And then I've got the proximity effect. And the proximity effect is the closer I get to the mic, the deeper my voice gets. Now on this one, the proximity effect doesn't happen like it does on a cardioid mic. Let me turn this off so I'm not coming at you in different when I have them both on and I talk, it makes me sound a little bit more raspy because it's in the morning and I am a little bit raspy, but I hate sounding as raspy as I do because it's supposed to be calm, relaxing, chilling. But anyways, that's when you use a dynamic microphone. They're generally pretty decimal hungry. They take a lot of the power to run them, but there's not phantom power. So to run this at a decent level, I need about 60 dB gain. The Shure, the Elvis mic, I need about 40, 50 dB gain. My Mackie board gives me 65 dB gain, but to run this, I got to have the Mackie board all the way up. So what I do, and I'll show you on this. There's one in the back. There's one in the back of this. I don't think you can see it very well, but it plugs right into here. I don't think you can see it very well, but you can see it on this one. This piece right here, this is called a Fed head. What that is that's a pretty clean audio amplifier. It's pretty clean. It gives it a little 18 dBs more of boost. So like I said, I need 70 to run this one. My Mackie has 65. Then I boost it with a Fed head. That gives me 18 more. So it allows me to not have the Mackie preamps turned up so high. Less noise, less self noise. Does that make sense? All right. Now, I don't have my cheap ones with me. Not sponsored, but I use Hollyland. I stumbled on these guys and love them. Pretty inexpensive. These are omnidirectional mics. So I started using these little square ones, these little round ones, for a reason. So when I want to record binaural, I don't use that Rio or whatever they call it, the two ears on there. I like using my own ears. So I've got two omnidirectional microphones that fit like headphones or earbuds. So you hear what I hear. I like using those, especially for sound effects for safety videos or short films. To me, it's just more realistic and you don't have this big thing on your camera. That being said, I want to do kind of a binaural without anybody walking up asking me what I'm doing. I moved to these. These are about $150 for a set of them, but you can put them in any phone. And that's the microphone. That big. So imagine I can clip it here or here on the back of a backpack. And then I've got separation of channels left and right with a little bit of delay in between them. Gives me kind of a binaural image of the entire scene. I find this really good for when I'm doing the walk around videos, so for work. sometimes they'll open up a new facility and I'll go through when it's closed with the guy talking. Yeah, we do this. Then I'll put that video actually literally on my phone. I'll hook these on each side of me, one on each side, and I'll follow the video that we went through and record the sounds as it's running. That way, when I put them together, I have him talking. I don't have his dialogue competing with the ambient noise. So I can, by separating them, now I can turn the ambient noise down. So it makes the videos more real, more pleasant, and it's a little bit of a binaural. Then I take that and I turn it into ASMR ambient noise too. I don't take that image, but I make a different image using the same process. Works out real well. Now, I'll have a picture of it. These are omnidirectional. They record everything. They have a real good noise counseling thing. Now, don't get me wrong. When you use AI noise counseling, you don't have to have your noise counseled. Canceling. That affects your dialogue, your voice just a bit. So you don't want to do it all the way. But on that end, they make these smaller ones, which I have in a couple videos back, that are like $29. And you get two, plug them into your phone. Or anything. They work on most action cameras. Plugging them directly in, it goes right to the camera. For a talking head with nothing going on, a little bit of that AI noise canceling would be great for gaming or talking head videos. Matter of fact, I bought a whole bunch of those smaller ones, and I'm sorry I don't have them on me, because I started a podcast with a church. Now, these priests travel a lot, and they want to share what they're doing. So to make it, and I hate to say it, because priests aren't idiots, but to make it idiot-proof, to make it so they don't have to do any work because they're traveling, they're doing stuff. I went with these microphones because they just plug it into their phone, slap it on, boom, we're hearing everything that's going on. They use them for live streaming, everything. $29. $29. And I've had a priest in a conference, and we were doing a podcast. I set up this podcast so it was like on the go for the church. And it used to be called the coffee break. But so when they go to these retreats or these conferences, they can take 15 minutes a day out of their day, step off, they hit the noise canceling. You hear nobody. There's in a room, no echo, works perfectly. $29. The whole point of this video was I've been asked what is the cheapest mic that I would recommend. And you really can't do it like that. You need to know what you're doing. Now, for each one of these microphones you see, there is a less expensive one. Fifine has a big broad. Will the quality be as good? I don't know. If you're in a whisper room like I am, and I use my phone, that sounds like a $400 mic. If you're out in the public, you could do a Shure SM57. That's a $99 mic that you can, mug somebody with, that you hold in your hand with any recorder, and boom, it'll work perfect. You can get those little, hang on. It will be the Hollyland Lark A1s. They got one that comes in a charging case, which is like $40. Then they got this other one that comes with a little cradle, $29. Those things are the best for talking heads or streaming. I think are probably the best bang for your buck. So I hope I answered some questions, but again, it depends on what you're doing. If you want to do a broadcast quality presentation, kind of like I do here, you're not going to do something like this with $100 mic. It's good. The mic's going to have self noise. It's going to have problems. And you need an interface for it to work with your computer. But there are a couple microphones that I'll have in the link below that are USB microphones that will work perfectly and are pretty good. Shure makes that MV7, which will run off a XLR or USB. That's another good one. I hope this explains a little bit in a relaxing kind of way of what I'm talking about. So this is KEWL, the cool spot on your dial. Don't touch that dial, it's got cool on it. But this is After Dark. So welcome to After Dark. It's when I get a idea, something I want to tell you. I'm going to do an After Dark, usually on Wednesdays. This will be posted early for members, but it'll be released on Wednesday. Don't forget, Friday is cool. Monday is Behind the Sounds. This is After Dark. Sunday. I have my live hangout. Pretty much we just hang out and bullshit. Log in. Come check us out. If you want to support the channel, become a member. If you just want to fuel my addiction for coffee, buy me a coffee. Till later. Talk to you later.